Hi all, once again, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Imani, and today we will be solving another question from CodeSignal, which is the first not repeating character problem. Okay, let's start. So the problem says, given a string S consisting of small English letters, find and return the first instance of a non-repeating character in it. If there is no such character, then return a dash. Okay, so we have been given an example here that if we're given a string that contains A, B, A, C, A, B, A, D, the output should be C. Okay, now it explains to us that there are two non-repeating characters in the string, which are C and D, but the question wants us to return C since it appears in the string first. Okay, so looking at the question here, we have two non-repeating characters. So if you see A has been repeated again over here, okay, B has been repeated as well from the example. You can see B here and B here, okay, but C has not been repeated at all and D has not been repeated at all, but C appears first before D. So the problem wants us to return C, which is the first non-repeating character. And if you look at the other example here, we have A, B, A, C, A, B, A, A, B, A, C, A, B, A. If you look at that example, all characters have been repeated, and that's when we have to return dash. Okay, so let's solve this question now. So looking at let's analyze the question. So looking at the question, we know that the input that we have over here, the input is the string S, okay, which consists of small English letters, okay, but the output is the first instance of a non-repeating character. So we have to return the first instance of a non-repeating character. But if there is no such character, now this is another condition. If there is no such character, then we have to return the character dash. Okay, now looking at this problem here, after summarizing it this way, you can start thinking of other possible cases where the string could return a dash apart from the example that we have seen. So we can start by saying, so like in step 1 of trying to solve this problem, you can say that if the string is empty, okay, we can then return the dash, because at this time there is no any repeating character, okay, or non-repeating character. So at the end of the day, we just have to return dash. But the other instance is that if we look at the example here, so step 2, by looking at the example, okay, you can start by iterating through all characters in the string, okay. While iterating through the characters in the string, we are going to be, so in step 3 we will be mapping the characters to integers to know their number of occurrences in the string. Okay, sorry, I'm just put enter. Yeah, to know the number of occurrences in the string, so the number of occurrences of each character in the string. Okay, while we are mapping at the same time, we will be, this is in step 4. Okay, we will be queuing each character that has been mapped. Okay, so each character that we map, we queue it in a variable queue. Now after queuing, we then come to analyze what we have queued. So in step 5, we will then say that while the queue is not empty, so the queue variable is not empty, and the number of occurrences of a particular character is greater than 1, we then remove that character from the queue. So remove character from the queue if its number of occurrences, okay, exceeds 1. Okay, but if it happens that all characters are being removed, now that is in step 5. Okay, step 6, sorry, step 6. If all characters are being if all characters have been removed, okay, have been removed from the queue. If all characters have been removed from the queue, then we return. If all characters have been removed from the queue, then we return the dash character. But if that condition is not true, now in step 7, okay, so while we are removing each character from the queue, if its number of occurrences exceeds 1. Now if it happens that it's that condition, so if step 5 has reached its I've reached a point where a character, we will see this in the program, where a character hasn't been removed from the if it reached a point where a character hasn't been removed from the queue, then that means that character has not been repeated more than once, so its number of occurrences does not exceed 1. We then return that character, okay, that specific character. Okay, so now let's implement this in our program. Okay, now in this case, let's include all the required libraries. So include algorithm. Okay, include algorithm. Okay, include vectors, because we won't be using vectors, but just in case, so you include, because we'll be mapping as well, so we include an ordered map. Okay, we will also include queue library, since we'll be queuing the characters as well. Okay, and we will also include iostream if we want to see the output as well. Okay, yep. And so we will have a function called solution that takes in a string. Okay, so let's, for now we will define that solution as that function as an integer because we want to see the output of the mapping, how the characters are being mapped to the number of occurrences in the string. Okay, so let's have a function that is in form of integer type that takes in a string s. Okay, and we will also have function main where we will run our program. Okay, so like we said over here, the first step is we're going to check if the string is empty. We'll then return dash. Okay, so we'll say now if string is empty, okay, we'll then turn dash. Okay, now in this case this step 1 is done. Go for step 2. Step 2, it says we have to iterate through all characters in the string. So we'll say we'll have a for loop. It starts from the first character to the last character. Okay, first character to the last character, and we'll go by increasing. Okay, then we'll say now we will map all the characters to integers to know its number of the number of occurrences of that specific character to the string, in the string, sorry. Now we will define over here, we will define the variable for mapping. So ordered, now here we will be mapping the characters to integers to be able to know their number of occurrences. Let's call it my map. Okay, and also we'll have a queue where we will be queuing the characters. Okay, and let's call this variable my queue. Okay, now we will say that in the for loop we will map, so we say we will map all the characters in the string to be able to know their number of occurrences. Okay, now let's write a for loop as well that is going to go through the my map variable to be able to know the number of occurrences of each letter in the string. So we can write a for loop that goes through from the first element to the last element of the my map. Okay, and we'll also be increasing, and we will print out the my map. Okay, to be able to see the number of occurrences of each character in the element file. In our case here, since our function is still an integer, we just have to return 0 in case we don't run into errors. And let's print out this function solution. Okay, but remember it's taking in a string, so let's define a string here s. Okay, let's give it this example here. Okay, Now in this case, let's have s as the input of the string, and that's how it looks like. So let's run the program, see what output we get. So as you can see on the screen, we have 4, 2, 1 and 1. This means the occurrence of a, so the occurrence of a in the string has been 4 times, the occurrence of b is 2 times, the occurrence of c is 1 time, and the occurrence of d is 1 time. Okay, so we have already seen that the map variable will give us the occurrences of each character in the string. Okay, but if you remember, I'm going to remove this. If you remember, in our steps here, we will be queuing each character that has been mapped. So after mapping each character, we will then queue it. Sorry, queue. We will push each character in the in the my queue queue array. So we will then, in our case now, the queue won't be empty. So we will then now go to step 5, where we will remove character from the queue if its number of occurrences exceed 1. So to be able to do this, we will say while my queue, okay, while my queue is not empty, okay, so while the queue is not empty, and the number of occurrences of a specific of the first character in the queue, okay, and I map my queue dot front. So this means that the number, if the queue is not empty and number of occurrences of the first character in the queue is greater than 1, what we do is, if it's greater than 1, it means that it has occurred more than once. Okay, then we just remove it from the queue. We just remove it, we just pop, we use a pop function to remove it. Now if it happens that this condition continues, this condition reaches a point where the queue becomes empty, where all characters have been removed, we then return dash. We can implement that by saying that if my queue, okay, is empty, okay, we then return dash. Okay, now in our case, since here we'll be returning characters, we will then change this to char. Okay, now if this condition is not true, so if it reaches a point here where the queue, where the character, the number of occurrences of that specific character is not greater than 1, we then return that character, which is my queue dot front. Okay, and let's run this by using this example here. So this is the whole program, as you can see. This is the whole program, and we are going to test that function using this string here that we're given as an example. Okay, so let's run it. Okay, it gave us C, which is what we're expecting it to give us. And let's try with this example over here, and let's run it. it gave us a dash, as you can see over here, which is what we're expecting. So now let's take this program that we have over here, copy it and paste it over here, paste it in the function area, and let's run the tests. Yep, and it gave us 10 out of 10. Test passed all testing, all the tests, and let's submit. Okay, so it was correct, and that's all for today. Thank you so much, and see you in the next one.